Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Rohr Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Rohr and Lara Sturm.
Welcome to the podcast this week. I'd like to welcome my co-host, Josh Rohr, the man who comes up with fun ideas and then runs out of ideas, like interesting intros.
All right. Thank you, Lara, and welcome to you, Lara. Case in point, no cool intros.
Zero.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes I have good ideas and funny things, and sometimes I really, really don't. Guess which day today is?
One of those days,
Yep.
Clearly.
So we're going to start off with the track of the week this time around. So Reo Speedwagon, Keep On Loving You. First impressions, Lara.
You know, there's one of those sleeper bands that I thought was a little too mainstream, and then I went and saw them in concert. They just happened to be, starting for, I don't remember who I was seeing, Tesla maybe, I don't know. And I was just like, wow, they're actually really great entertainers. I was really impressed.
Yeah.
I love the song, but, I kind of thought it was a little mainstream, but it's pretty good.
I've actually never seen them in concert.
You missed them.
Yeah, I know. I miss out on a lot of things. I live a pretty sheltered life. But some fun facts about Reo Speedwagon. They were named after the Reo Speedwagon, which was a 1915 light motor truck that was manufactured by the Reo Motor Car Company. It's basically an ancestor of the pickup truck.
Which you love pickup truck, so.
I do. I guess I do, yeah. And the reason they came to that or found that name or whatever is one of the members saw the name written across a blackboard when he walked into his history of transportation class in college. Basically it was the first day after they decided to look for a name for the band, and that's what he saw and that's what they went with. So kind of, I don't know if lazy is the word, but kind of
Just
not
heard it. Well, that's it.
Kind of not real original there.
That's funny. Well, and I feel like I need to explain my Josh Rohr. You're a fan of the pickup truck because you drive a diesel truck, and every time that you and my husband get together or talk at all, you talk about your diesel trucks and
We're diesel brothers.
diesel brothers.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure there's more of us out there somewhere.
diesel brothers unite.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right, so we have some questions from our listeners.
Yeah, so first question is actually, I'm going to throw it to you. So I'm just going to read it how it came in. It didn't really come in as a question. It's kind of a statement. Not really sure what they want to know, but I'll just let you run with it. So What came in was making the transition from CrossFit to powerlifting. So I guess my first thoughts were like considerations, like differences in training style, etc. Anything else? I wasn't real involved. I've never been real involved in CrossFit. You were, so I'll let you take it away. I will stop talking now.
Nice. So CrossFit is a great way to get an introduction to a barbell movement, or two or three, right? CrossFit is well known for not specializing really in anything. So you're getting generally good-ish at everything. So, in CrossFit, we're doing, clean, jerk, snatch, deadlift, squatting, front squat, back squat. And of course, in CrossFit, you have to say back squat because it's not a front squat. And then in powerlifting, we don't say back squat. We just assume squat. So, it's definitely more of taking a generalized idea of fitness, and then powerlifting is much more specialized, right? We're only doing 3 lifts. We only have squat, bench, and deadlift. So those 3 movements that you might have been introduced to, and a lot of CrossFitters don't even bench press, which is sad to me, but it's true. So a lot of things that you might have seen in a generalized way or in a way that you thought was pretty specialized probably wasn't. And then when you get into powerlifting, you definitely dive into very fine nuances of those lifts. You know, I would have seen things in CrossFit where women were squatting with a women's Olympic lifting barbell. And I'm like, don't do that. Because if you're going to do a powerlifting movement, you should do it the way a powerlifter does. CrossFitters might not wear shoes or belts very often. They'd be, you know, completely raw, even barefoot sometimes. Raw, yeah. And, you know, as a gym owner, I'd always be like, well, if you're going to do a powerlifting movement, you should do powerlifting things. You know, wear a belt if you're going to learn how to use it.
Do powerlifting as a powerlifter would do powerlifting.
Exactly. And just like when you're in CrossFit, you should do gymnastics like a gymnast would do them.
Yeah.
Do the Olympic lifts like an Olympic lifter would do them. So, you know, I think CrossFitters should specialize a little bit more in learning the movements themselves. But when you're making that transition, you definitely dive in deeper. The other issue with CrossFit when you're going from CrossFit to powerlifting is that there's a lot more conditioning. There's a lot more fluff. And then sometimes as a CrossFitter, you feel like you need to do so much. Like you feel like you need to kind of beat yourself up a little bit. You know, I don't want to say that it's like self-flagellation, but it is like overdoing a little bit. It's almost sometimes CrossFit gets to be exertainment. That's my
What are these words you're using? Flatulation,
like beating yourself, you know, whipping yourself. I think a lot of people that sometimes get into CrossFit are into doing something hard because it's hard and it kind of makes them feel like a badass, kind of like Orange Theory. You know, Orange Theory people are kind of like that. They like to do something that they perceive as hard so that they kind of feel like a badass. It kind of lifts their ego, perhaps. And, you know, I think sometimes when we're making that transition, you really have to go from train, do something hard to we're trying to get better in a sport that's very specific. So it's not about beating yourself up every day. And especially as a woman, you feel like you're not doing enough cardio. And I'm going to get fat if I'm not doing enough cardio. And that's absolutely not true. I actually changed my body composition better, quicker, and in a less painful way, just doing powerlifting than, you know, doing constant cardio and stuff that was involved with CrossFit. So it's definitely a different training style in that you're not doing as much. Your training sessions might be longer because it's kind of hard to specialize in those things. Where CrossFit, like you're in and out in an hour, typically. Powerlifting sessions, I would never be done in.
My warm-up is usually done in an hour.
Right? When someone's like, you know, get to your max squat in 20 minutes, I'm like, 20 minutes, 2 hours, come on. You know, powerlifting takes a lot more per session, and it's a very different mode of training. And I also have a lot of people that are, you know, crossovers that come to a powerlifting meet and they've never done a powerlifting meet and they've just done CrossFit. And then, you know, they're just like, well, how hard can it be? I'm just going to open up at something close to my max and I've got 3 tries to do it. And they discount what that whole environment does. They don't know the commands. So there's a whole different way to train for it.
Yeah.
But it's awesome and fun. And all CrossFitters should also do powerlifting meets.
Also agree with that. Yeah. I actually don't have anything to add to that. I think you pretty much covered anything and more that I would have to say. So,
well, and I did get Josh to do a CrossFit workout once.
I've blocked it out of my mind.
Yeah. So there was a fundraiser that we did that I got people to pay per burpee that Josh did. And we had a 5-minute clock and he got to do as many burpees as he could in 5 minutes.
Was it only a 5? I thought it was a 10-minute clock.
It was 5 minutes, Josh.
Oh man, that's really bad then. Cause I think I got like 30, what did I get? 37?
Yeah, something like that. 37.
I thought
really not bad for someone who.
Oh no, wait, it's actually better. It's actually better than I thought. Cause I thought I did 37 in 10 minutes, but if you're telling me I did 37 in 5 minutes, hey, look at me. I'm actually somewhat of a respectable human.
Keep telling yourself that.
I do every day.
Yeah, it's okay. All right. So, and how did you feel after those 5 minutes of burpees?
I felt like garbage and I wanted to die.
But yet I think everyone should do it. So see what you're made out of.
Yeah.
5-inch burpees, go.
Yeah.
All right. So we have another question. So someone asked, and this question hurts my soul just a little bit. Should the deadlift even really be part of powerlifting? Should the sport go to just 2 lifts like Olympic lifting?
No. I don't even know that I want to elaborate on that question, because let me just lay it out there. So the 3 power lifts are a variety of max strength testing. And basically anybody that says you shouldn't deadlift, well, anybody that's making an argument to get rid of it, to put it bluntly, must really suck at deadlifting. So my response to that, and person that asked this question, if I offend you, I'm only half sorry, but just train your deadlift better and train it harder and smarter. In general, so there's usually like the really, really good power lifters are good at all 3. The above average power lifters, there's usually they're really good at either like really, really good at squat or bench, decently good at squat or bench, the other one of those 2, and then probably really not good at deadlifting. Or on the flip side, you have somebody that's really good at deadlifting, average at squatting, and probably really bad at benching. Those are like the 2 flip sides of the coin most of the time. But yeah, in general, I think that was a dumb question. And basically it's trying to create a handicap for what you're not the best at. So my advice to you, Mark Freeman, is just get better at deadlifting. End of discussion.
Yeah. So Josh, what's your favorite lift?
Deadlift. And if anybody has an argument to get rid of a lift, it's me getting rid of the bench press because I'm terrible at it.
You're not the only one who's not the biggest fan of the bench press sometimes.
Yeah. But instead of complaining about it and saying, let's get rid of it, what do? I just train bench and try to get better at it. So do that. Stupid question. Let's move on.
All right, Josh, the next question. Or did we cover it?
Oh yeah. Next question. Can Lara bench more equipped than Josh can bench raw?
I wish. It's really the answer, I think. Then I'm like, wait, what can you bench raw?
I was going to say, it depends on, so I will say this. You can definitely, so when you were training and at meet ready status, you could equip bench more than I could raw bench after about a year of not training.
Oh, okay. I was going to say. So if you took a year off.
If I took a year off, you would definitely outbench me. You would probably outbench me raw too, actually. My bench goes in the crapper pretty quick. Or I guess you can argue it stays there. It just gets flushed down a little further pretty quick.
Well, it does seem like, everyone, well, maybe not everyone, as you were saying, there are some elite lifters that are good at all 3, but I think everyone has a lift that they're still the best at.
Yeah, and typically whatever they're the best at ends up being their favorite, and then that's what they focus on instead of trying to fix the stuff that they really could make leaps and bounds in progress, but they just focus on the fun stuff. So do better.
Yeah. Do better. All right, let's move on to the new lifter tip.
Cool. So new lifter tip. We actually, the Team Rohr Powerlifting social media at Team Rohr posts the new lifter tip every Saturday. So I figured it'd be kind of a fun little segment to kind of elaborate on the previous week's post. So last week it was posted that it's kind of just for people that don't understand how powerlifting works. There's 3 referees that judge a lifter at when they're on the platform. And they either will give you a white light if the lift is good and passes all the standards and everything, or they'll give you a red light if it's not good. You didn't meet the standards, or you just flat out failed with it. And basically, the reason we put this on here is because majority rules. So if you get 3 white lights, it's a good lift. If you get 2 white lights and 1 red light, it's still a good lift, majority rules. And I've seen a lot of new lifters, when they see 1 red light, they think it's a no lift because they got a red light. So I think we're just put that up there basically to make sure everybody understands that, that it's majority. So 3 white lights or 2 white lights is a good lift.
Good point. I also think it's a good idea that when you do get a red light, that you or the person who's handling you understand why you got a red light. Because if you aren't aware of it, and then the next lift comes out and you do the same thing, maybe next time 2 referees will see it.
Yeah. And I've seen that happen where, and sometimes as a referee, sometimes like you get blocked by a spotter and you can't quite see what happened. So, you always give the benefit of the doubt to the lifter. So if I'm judging a squat and right as they're about to hit depth, the spotter kind of blocks my view. Well, and I don't know if you hit depth or not. I can't give you a red light because I didn't see it. So maybe you were high, but you got away with one because I was blocked by the spotter. So you think you were fine if you don't ask what you got called for. And then you come out on the next one and you get 2 reds because both referees now see it clearly. So yeah, to your point, always find out what you got the red light for so you can, be aware and make the adjustments. Right.
So you can always ask the ref, or, as you're getting off the platform, to ask even the head ref. Sometimes when you're getting off the platform, you're like, wait, what's lights? Who threw that light? But it's a good idea to ask.
Yeah. And, at a regional meet or a national meet, there's going to be a jury, which is basically just a panel of, senior referees. You can always go to them and ask. But at a local meet where they don't have a jury, you just go to the chief referee and say, hey, what was that call for? Or you can go to the referee that made the call, because usually the lights will correlate to which referee it is. So, yeah, understand what you did wrong so you can do better. It's important.
Do better.
Do better. Yeah, do better. Yep. So we are actually not going to have a podcast next week. So September 25th, there will not be an episode. So this is your call to action. Get caught up on all the episodes you've missed, because we're going to roll right into episode 13 starting October 2nd. So in the meantime, you can definitely send us your questions or topics you want us to cover. Again, you can DM us on Instagram, PL Ballads Podcast, or shoot us an email at plballadspodcast@gmail.com. And fun fact, it was pouring down rain here in Georgia, and I am getting ready to go mop up some water in my basement.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not fun.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just a little bit, but it's a fun fact. I guess you call it fun. I don't know.
Well, have fun doing that, Josh.
Will do. So I guess that is all. I will see you, Lara Sturm, in 2 weeks.
All right. Thanks for our listeners. Have a great week. Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.